Hello, fifth grade parents and students. This is Miss B coming to you with your first music class online. This is definitely something new for me, and I'm sure it's going to change a lot from the first time I did this to the last time that we have to do it. Hopefully, I get to see you guys at school eventually, but if not, this is what music's going to look like. So, we were supposed to be doing our musical unit, which I could do online, but I don't know. Maybe I'll start it because I can actually cast my screen where you guys don't see me and you just see the page and I can talk about it. But I don't know. That's kind of boring, So I don't know. I'll think about it. But for now, I thought we'd do something fun. We are going to sing a Pink song after we learn about Pink. I love Pink. If you don't like Pink, you don't have to like her music, but you should definitely appreciate her music and what she has done. So Pink, she really has this edgy tomboy style that doesn't let her female pop star peers don't have. She has had huge success, especially with stuff like "What About Us," which, by the way, was actually written in retaliation to some of President Trump's promises that hadn't happened. Some of them have happened at that time, but we've talked about how music and politics is a really big thing that can happen, and that's how lots of people put out their voice. Look up how many songs were written based on political things at the time. This is just one of them. But basically, sorry, I digress. One of the things, the way this class is going to work is I'm going to embed an assignment or a question for you in this, and you have to comment or send me something on Google about what that question was, and you have to answer the question to be able to get your points. Because if I'm taking my time to make these videos, you guys need to take your time to listen to the video and have fun. Guys, this is gonna be fun. We're singing a Pink song today. Come on, we could be singing Twinkle Twinkle, which some of you would maybe enjoy, but I do that enough with kindergarten. Okay, so let's start with learning about Pink. So who is Pink? She is known for edgy pop music. She had a super strong debut album when I was only 8 years old. And she received stardom for singing in the 2001 Moulin Rouge soundtrack, singing Lady Marmalade, which, by the way, that is a rockin' song to sing, and you have to be good to sing it well. Some claim that Pink changed the scope of pop music, and she paved the way for stars like Katy Perry and Lady Gaga, because Pink was the eclectic one back in the day. She wasn't wearing meat suits or dyeing her hair pink, but she was not feminine. She was super happy with her tomboyish, and she flaunted it, and she was okay being super muscular and having short hair, which was not a thing back then when you're thinking Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears. Those were the people that were big, and they're, that's the cutesy girl next door. She's continued to churn out top hits like So What, Raise Your Glass, and she's also a prominent animal rights campaigner for PETA. So her early life, her name is actually Alicia Beth Moore. She was born in September of 1979 in Pennsylvania. Pink is what she's known as, though, and she actually gets her name from a movie called Reservoir Dogs, where there was a Mr. Pink, who all her friends are like, dude, you look like Mr. Pink. So that's where she got the name from. Pretty cool. Wasn't just her favorite color. Pink was the second child of her parents. She had a pretty standard middle class life in the suburbs of Doylestown. Her parents did have a tense relationship, however, which caused a divorce when she was only 3 years old. Their split was the subsequent demise of the marriage actually kind of put in a rebellious attitude in Pink. So when stuff like that's traumatic. I don't care what anyone says. My family went through a divorce when I was a kid, and I was about the same age. It's traumatic, and different people deal with that stuff in different ways, and Pink's way was a rebellious attitude. She was I was never allowed to go over to any of my friends' house when I was little because I was a bad influence. Think about that, how her people's parents, even if she was friends with them, didn't want them over because of how she acted. None of the parents liked me, and my own parents were actually scared to death of me and for me. They were so worried about what she was going to do. They were afraid to be hey, no, don't touch that knife, because, they were afraid she was going to be well, I'm going to touch it anyway. And who knows what can happen. But Pink found solace in music like so many people do. And at the age of 13, she was actually in the Philadelphia club scene. And when she was 14, she was actually she was experienced vocalist and dancer and was writing her own songs. She also had a gig every Friday night at a Philly nightclub where she performed her own music, but it proved to be kind of hard to manage, and she was swallowed up by the world of drugs and almost overdosed at the age of 15. And she was involved in petty crime, which is like small theft basically. She eventually dropped out of high school though, before returning in 1998 to earn her GED. It's apparent, however, and it was back then, that Pink did have a talent for music. One evening, an executive from a record company took notice of this sassy teenager and was like, "Hey, can you come and audition for this R&B group that was forming?" So back then, one of the things that they did is, like, record groups were like, "Okay, there's this group over here that's doing this, and they're awesome, and we want to have the same thing in our record deal." So they would actually find singers and audition them together, and then make these groups. Like, think like how, like, NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, like, I'm not sure if either one of those were made that way, but I know there was the boy bands that were made from, like, putting pieces of groups of successful singers together to make their own boy band. The group was known as Basic Instinct, and they were like, "Yeah, Pink's awesome." Like, they welcomed her in. Now, despite a record deal and plenty of studio time, the band never actually found traction, and it disbanded just 2 years after it was assembled. Then she did a second run with another R&B band called Choice, which actually did not last very long either. Now, for Pink, though, neither experience was a disaster. Like, she, like, picked herself up, brushed herself off, and was like, "Let's keep going." Her talent was too hard not to notice. Like, that was not something, like, you heard her and you're like, "Dang, that girl can sing." And with the support of, and, like, she struck out on her own from her label. She's like, "No, you guys keep on trying to shape me into something I'm not. Peace out." So she changed her name from Alicia Moore, which was the name she was using in the R&B groups, to Pink. And she started recording her first solo album, which was Can't Take Me Home, which was released in 2000. And it went double platinum and created 2 top 10 singles. It was a record that was bolstered by her tour schedule, which found her opening up for the boy band NSYNC because they were on the same record label. Now, despite this fame and success, she was never one to, like, hide her true emotions, and she was far from satisfied. She's like, "No, I want more. I want to be better." And she was fearful of being lumped into, like, that, like, "Oh, pretty singers, like, oh, Christina Aguilera, you know, like, Pink, oh, she's just another Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and Jessica Simpson." And she didn't want that, so she's like, "I'm going to make my sights on a deeper, edgier sound." She was like, "There was no blood, sweat, or tears in my first album, and no emotional exchange between me and the musicians. It was just R&B on a conveyor belt." And there's lots of songs, guys, honestly, that are pumped out that way that become hits, because, like, there's a formula to a successful song. So she ended up finding a little more of what she was looking for in 2001 when she was in the movie, when she did the soundtrack Moulin Rouge, and she sang a song with Christina Aguilera, Maya, and Lil' Kim in a soulful remake of Lady Marmalade. That same year, Pink released a single from her album Get the Party Started, which was Get the Party Started. It was a powerhouse that climbed to number 5. It was a perfect launch for her second record, which was Misunderstood, which is a rock-infused record that went on to sell more than 10 million copies worldwide. In 2003, she did a third album, which was more rock-centric, and it put her in more singles, and she got a Grammy for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance. And despite its success, though, the album never did as well as the other albums did. But in 2006, 3 years later, third album. It was a record that seemed to be her most honest line of songs to date, and it had the number 1 hit Stupid Girls, which was a pointed attack on, like, the infatuation that people had with celebrities like Paris Hilton and Britney Spears. Basically, your pretty blonde girls, which was Pink did not associate herself as. She said it was more of a social commentary on these girls who think they have to be stick thin and have the latest handbag. And she's like, "There's nothing wrong with being sexy, but you need to be sexy for yourself, not society." Then in 2010, she released her greatest hits so far, which is a compilation which featured her hits, 2 of her hits, one of them being Raise Your Glass. And 2 years later, her 6th album, The Truth About Love, soared into the top Billboard 200 with a multiple top 10 singles, including the number 1 hit, Just Give Me a Reason. Her next tour became the 3rd highest grossing tour in 2013 with $148 million in sales of tickets. Now, outside of her famous stage name, Pink did continue to explore other avenues of expression. She wrote songs for other artists like Cher and Celine Dion. In 2013, she gained critical praise for her acting chops starring in a movie with Mark Ruffalo and Gwyneth Paltrow. She also had made time for a more folksy side, not just rock, and did a chart-topping folk album called Rose Avenue under a band with a guy named Dallas Green, and they called the band You and Me. That'd be something cool to look up and let me know about. Other efforts, including doing covers of songs like the Beatles' Lucy in the Skies with Diamonds, and which she did for the musical series Beat Bugs, which is on Netflix, which my kids love. And she also did White Rabbit for Tim Burton's Through the Looking Glass movie. Now, in 2017, she unveiled a new single called What About Us? It was the first release from her 7th studio album, Beautiful Trauma, which shot to the top 2 Billboard 100 in less than a month. The momentum continued into 2018 when she performed at the Grammys and then sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl a few days later. In 2019, she unveiled Hurts to Be Human, her 8th album, and 3rd in a row to be in the Billboard Top 200. Generally, it was well received by critics, and it had the single Walk Me Home, as long as a collab track with R&B singer Khalid. Now, away from the record studio, her life was also, and is also still evolving. She married her boyfriend, which was a motocross star, and she actually proposed to him. That's the kind of girl that Pink is. She gets done what she wants to get done. She kind of reminds me of Miss Mister, actually, when I think about it. But like her parents' marriage, her union with Hart proved to not be good. And like 2 years later, they separated on good terms. Her 5th album, Funhouse, which was in 2008, drew from the raw emotion she felt from that. Because, I mean, even if it was on good terms, like, it hurts. Breakups hurt. Right? It was a huge success and went actually to number 2 on the Billboard chart and inspired her wild worldwide tour that featured her performing blindfolded sometimes and singing upside down on a trapeze. She had to be in such good shape for that. Like, I remember watching the documentary on it. Like, look up stuff from that tour. It's crazy. Now, as always, her music helped her heal, just like when she was a kid. And the reflection of her crumbling relationship with Hart helped them actually reunite. And after a little bit, in 2010, she actually told Oprah Winfrey that she and her husband were back together. The singer said that the separation taught her and her husband valuable lessons about themselves and how to better function in a marriage. In 2011, she gave birth to their daughter, Willow Sage. And in 2016, they welcomed a baby boy named Jamison Moon. I love Willow Sage. So if you guys look up the video of Pink singing the song Million Dreams, on YouTube, Willow, I'll post it because I love it. Willow also sings in that one, and like some of the stuff she talks about with Willow, like you could tell she loves that girl so much. So despite her tough image, Pink has also shown her softer side to the public. She's an outspoken advocate, for instance, for better treatment of animals, and she's putting her celebrity self like on campaigns like People for the for PETA. She also does human rights campaign, UNICEF, and Save the Children. Now, let's talk about some of those rewards. Among her many accolades, she does have a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, and she got it in 2019, not that long ago. Later, she was named the People's Champion of 2019 at the People's Choice Awards, and upon accepting her honor, she implored the audience to go out and make a difference, noting, "Kindness today is an act of rebellion." Like, let's think about how true that is. Alright, guys, so actually, like, I'm looking, and on this page that I'm on, I'm actually, like, it has tons of stuff there. It has Pink's full biography. It actually has her performing So What, which is the trapeze one. Like, she's, like, it's the ribbon thing, like Cirque du Soleil, and she's, like, blindfolded and, like, hanging upside down singing. Like, I can barely sing her songs when I'm not blindfolded and upside down. And it has Lady Marmalade on there. So, yeah, I'm definitely sharing this page to you. There's a URL that goes to more also, but this would be something cool for you guys to look at because, obviously, like, I just kind of went through the highlights and the stuff that I thought was important. All right, so we are going to do the song Just Like Fire. I thought it would be a good, fun one, and I think I can sing this one. All right, so we're going to do Just Like Fire by Pink. Remember, I am not Pink, okay? Please do not share this to Pink. This is just me trying to do a song that you guys would like. I'm going to put the lyrics though on the page. You guys can sing with me. I know I'm running out of time. I want it all. Feels like I'm surrounded by the clowns and the liars. Even when I get it all the way, I want it all. We can get them running, running, running. We can get them running, running, running. Just like fire burning up the way. If I can light the world up for just one day, watch this madness, colorful charades. No one can be just like me anyway. Just like magic, I'll be flying free. I'ma disappear when they come for me. I kick that ceiling, what you gonna say? No one can be just like me anyway. Just like fire. Just like fire. And we are going to just do that much, I think. You know what? I thought I could do that song better, and I practiced it a little bit, but you know, it's just not happening. Now, drum roll, please, for your assignment. This will be super fun. All right, so you are going to go onto YouTube and listen to 3 different versions of the Star Spangled Banner. One of them needs to be Pink's version of the Star Spangled Banner. Super Bowl Star Spangled Banners are a good place to start. I recommend Lady Gaga's, by the way. It's super great. So Pink's version of the Star Spangled Banner and 2 others, and you have to tell me which one you enjoyed the most and why. That can be done in a short video. It can be done in the comment section. But that is how you get your points. If you send me a video of you singing along with me or you singing this song, I will give you a shout out in next week's video, because you know what? What better way with this for us to come together than to be silly together and have fun. All right, I will talk to you guys later.